Hello, gentlemen and gentlemen adjacents. I'm Ronan Collins, and I'm going to be your speaker today. So, first, I'm going to be hitting on topics like the imperial and the metric system, and why we should switch to the metric system. Like, why are we one of three countries that weigh ourselves in pounds, buy our sodas in liters, buy our gas in gallons, and measure our bullets in millimeters? So, every country on Earth uses the metric system except for
us, Liberia, and Miramar.
Alright, so let me show you a couple examples of what a conversion mix-up can look like. First up, the NASA Mars Climate Orbiter. This $327 million spacecraft was lost because Lockheed Martin, a defense company, sent thruster data in pound seconds, which is imperial, and NASA assumed the data was in Newton seconds, which is metric, causing it to either burn up in the atmosphere or shot into the abyss of space before it reached Mars. All because of one engineering team not knowing it was meant to be metric and not imperial caused this disaster.
Alright now, what about Air Canada Flight 143? Back in 1984, Air Canada had just switched from the imperial to the metric system. The Boeing 747 needed about 22,000 kilograms of fuel. The ground crew measured the fuels in liters correctly, but used the wrong conversion factor. They used the pounds base density instead of the kilograms base density. This caused the plane to have about half the fuel they needed to get to Alberta, Canada. But left unknowingly, they departed from Quebec, Canada, going to Alberta being about 2,960 about 1,840 miles away. They made it about halfway when all of a sudden, boom, both engines die out of nowhere. The people on board survived, but that's besides the point. The point is, all because of one misunderstanding by one man, this plane could have abruptly crashed, killing all 70 people.
But these are just a couple of reasons why I wouldn't mind converting, though. I mean, for one, back on flight 143, that could have been the last flight of 70 plus people, and how can they justify the cost of converting if they didn't mind losing that $327 million Mars Climate Orbiter? But I mean, the main reason why I want to convert is, as this is my second semester here at MTSU for mechanical engineering, I am starting to take some engineering classes. One of them is AutoCAD, which is a software service for computer-aided design, or a way of making blueprints, basically. That being said, I deal with conversions every week from inches to millimeters, or at least keeping measurements consistent, which I would say takes up more of my time than the actual drawings themselves. And it irks me sometimes knowing there can be a more efficient way, but in this case, more efficient and accurate way of making drawings. Now, schools K through 12 here in the US don't really go over imperial to the metric system as they should. In fact, teachers only spend about 60 hours over 13 years of our school careers going over this. But think about it, the class time, the teachers nationwide working, the time spent not going over other subjects. This all adds to the cost of teaching us how to convert. While we get taught that 12 inches is in a foot, 3 feet are in a yard, and 5,280 feet are in a mile, that's costing, according to NIST, the National Institute of Science and Technology, at least $1.6 billion per year more than leading metric countries, and about 30 more hours spent going over measurements. The reason the metric system is superior in the time it costs to teach us is it's based on the power of tens. You just move the decimal place over and you're golden. But fun fact, the metric system was actually born in France during their revolution back in the 1700s, because back then every town had its own version of a foot or meter, pound, whatever you wanted, which was chaos for vendors and governments. So, the French Academy of Science created the first natural constants and the power of 10 for its simplicity, logic, and meant to be universal. Speaking of the French, this is also why I love music, because like the metric system, it's a universal language anyone can understand. A whole note's a whole note, a half note's a half note, and a quarter note's always a quarter note. Even going back to the 13th century, it's still readable, and that's what I want for everyone. A system that anyone, anywhere can understand. No more guessing, no more random numbers. I mean, any engineers like me or people in fields like physics, biology, chemistry, I mean, this means less mental clutter and more time to focus on solving actual problems. Imagine how much faster we'd learn if we didn't have to mentally juggle two systems in our heads while we're doing, like, converting grams to kilograms or going from millimeters to inches. I mean, it gets ridiculous at some points, in my opinion. But what about the pushback, though? Because some people are going to say it's too expensive. All the new signs, the new textbooks, the new equipment, but most of the costs are both outdated and exaggerated. Back in the 1970s, Congress tried to bring the metric system overseas, but it would have costed around $325 billion in today's money. But as the years have gone by, we have implemented dual systems like tools, machines, road signs, and even big companies like Ford and SpaceX are starting to use more metric than imperial, which has cut that cost down to $25 to $50 billion. Which links to when I stated that NIST calculated about $1.6 billion in savings if we went purely to the metric system and stopped teaching imperial altogether. And that would take about 15 years on the low end and 31 years on the high end to completely cover the cost of switching over. I mean, I don't see the problem with that, and that would also make us the fastest country to completely convert systems overall. Now, others may argue, oh, well, it's a great part of our country's identity. I mean, so were typewriters, landlines, and dial-up internet. I mean, we've moved on to greater things when greater things came. Well, the metric system is that greater thing, and it's long overdue. So clinging to this old rickety imperial system, I mean, it just doesn't make us special. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it makes it harder for us. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. The metric system is already the global language for science, engineering, and progress as a whole. Besides, it's not even about losing our identity. It's about joining the rest of the world and speaking the same technical language. I mean, it leads to more teamwork, less damage or worry about dangers, and just no more confusion overall. The imperial system is an inferior way of measurement for both simplicity and safety worldwide. Yes, it'll cost both money and patience, but one, we're already in trillions of dollars of debt and unsure of our future, to be honest. And second, it'll be an inevitably slow process till the future. Generations come around, iPad in hand, becoming engineers, teachers, or even culinary artists, thanking us for a little less confusion. So whether it's rockets, roads, or recipes, it's time to make America measure up. Let's make sense. Go metric. Go metric. Metric. So my call to action to you is to use it in your normal life or work life. Maybe vote for congressmen or senators that would be down to use the metric system. But that's pretty much it. So I'm going to leave you with this quote. Thomas Jefferson, who pushed hard for logic and measurement, said, "The measures should be fixed on a decimal ratio because it is the easiest ratio of all for the computation." Basically meaning use metric, it's math proof. Anyway, that's my time. Bye! Thomas Jefferson, who pushed hard for logic and measurement, said, "The measures should be fixed on a decimal ratio because it is the easiest ratio of all for the computation." Basically meaning use metric, it's math proof. Anyway, that's my time. Bye!